Risk Management South Africa. She joins us in the studio. We get to celebrate her, and we also get to take a journey and getting to learn her story a little bit better in the Monday Boost this time around. Thank you so very much for your time. How are you today?
I am very good. Thank you for having me.
An absolute pleasure to have you. You know, just to share with our listener, off air, I was checking just how to pronounce your name, and you said Coveney, like COVID. Before COVID, how did you tell people?
It's the easiest way for people to pronounce my name correctly.
Yeah. Love it, love it, love it. So you have had a distinguished career spanning over 17 years within this space, but how did you get there? How did you find yourself within this particular field?
Mm-hmm. So I grew up in a small town called Shellcross, south of Durban.
Okay.
And I was surrounded by many role models growing up. And I think I was surrounded by a lot of chartered accountants. So that's really where it started to, I want to say, the seed was planted inside of me to decide that this was a path that I wanted to follow. Chartered accountants in our community were very respected. They were also great mentors. They were also people that would support all of the children in the community. And I think at that moment I decided that I wanted to be like that. And that's really how I want to say the seed was planted for me to head into the finance profession.
Well, the journey getting there, you know, you say you come from a very small town and you know, you were observing clearly other people and you were able to attach a certain level of prestige, right, within this particular field. But for you, making the step and actually going forward and following this path, was it an easy one?
The CA route, for anyone who's been through it, knows it is not an easy route. I actually failed my board exam the first time round, and I'm not afraid to share that because I believe that, you know, sharing things that have been speed bumps in our life is what inspires people. I grew up in a small town, like I mentioned. It was so small that if you had drove past it and you blinked, you'd probably miss it. So, you know, it was a community that was filled with love, with nurturing, and everyone supported each other, and that was phenomenal to grow up in that environment. My parents have always instilled in me to aim for excellence, and I think that is what has kept me grounded, that is what has kept me focused on, you know, my earlier years as maneuvering and becoming a chartered accountant. I was also very fortunate to do my articles at Deloitte. So that was an incredible experience, great company to start with, and also a great company to be nurtured and to learn the ins and outs of auditing and accounting.
So I'm happy that you spoke about, you know, having flunked your first, you know, board. Do you call it board? And, you know, I've heard of many people who have gone through this journey as well. Some, you know, more than once even, right? And maybe getting it after their third try. It's quite the humbling experience, right? Especially if you have these plans for yourself, you're excited to journey into this and you work hard, only for it to come back and not being the desired result. So maybe talk to us about what that experience taught you, maybe just about yourself or just the career in itself.
I think it was the first time I ever failed anything, and that was huge for me. I mean, I even passed my driver's license the first time, and that shocked people around me. That really shocked my own family. But I think, you know, there is, I want to say, power and there's grace that you learn when you don't get things the first time round. I think it makes you stop and reflect as to whether you really want this in your life, whatever it may be. And for me, being a CA and having that ability to impact lives, because that's what it does ultimately. It gives you that, I want to say, channel to be able to impact lives. It was something that I had committed my mind to doing, and I wasn't going to let, you know, an exam stop me from that. So it just encouraged me to be better, to put in more effort, and it taught me resilience, right? I think if anything, anyone who's been through this, and I'm sure there are CAs going to be listening to this as well, is to never give up, right? There's power in trying again, there's power in trying with a different strategy this time round.
And what was your strategy? Since we,
My strategy was to get a mentor, to get people that have gotten through this exam, and just to change the way that I was reading the questions. You know, not to just read it at face value and think about the theory, but actually to apply your mind. And I guess that is for me the difference when I look back between a pass and a fail. It's, can you actually apply your mind to a real life situation to get to the answer that they want?
I love that. I love that. And obviously, you know, with life and how things go, we're more than one thing, right?
Yes.
We are not just our careers. I think the older that we get exposed to more and more things, and there's this yearning to want to do more, to be some kind of change, to affect some kind of change. So you yourself are quite passionate around gender equality, and you have a passion for social justice as well. In what ways does this manifest itself?
I'll give you a real life example.
Please.
So we are currently in 16 days of activism. And I think that, you know, being a CA is one part. It's a part of your professional career. But as women, I honestly believe that we are multifaceted. There are many things that we are called to do here on our journey on earth. And it is on us to make sure that we are living a life of fulfillment. I talk a lot about purpose and passion in the motivational, you know, talks that I give. And I think it is very important for us to find something more to be able to give back an impact. And that's really what I've been doing with my platform, Boss Babes of South Africa. We have been change agents since the time we started in 2020, and really advocating, especially now that we're, you know, in the 16 days of activism. But beyond that, how do we change those narratives? How do we make spaces that women exist in safer and more healthy for them to be able to thrive, succeed, and excel in what they do?
For sure. And you mentioned something that's piqued my interest, and I wanted to learn a little bit more about the work that you do with Boss Babes before we talk about the award.
Sure.
But you established it in 2020, which, I mean, everybody, for me, is just like, oof. Who starts anything in 2020? We're in the thick of COVID, and this pandemic that's just ravaging the entire world. What motivated you to start at that particular time, and how did it start? Especially because the world was effectively closed.
The world was effectively closed. I've always been a very solution-driven individual. So the minute I heard that we were going into lockdown and level 5, there was a lot of anxiety around me. I thought to myself, how do we take this and turn it into something, you know, a bit more positive? How can I use my voice on a digital platform to start to inspire people, motivate and uplift people? Because those are things that come very naturally to me as a leader. And I would go onto Instagram, I would, you know, post quotes, I would talk about the way people were feeling, I would bring on guests. And before I knew it, the platform was booming in terms of numbers, in terms of reach, engagement, followers. And I think for me, that was just testament to being able to create a proudly South African brand. Something that resonates with the challenges that women face, especially the challenges that women of color face. And I think that this was, you know, the first step to starting to have transformative conversations that people often are feeling too uncomfortable or too scared to have. And this is really what Boss Babes of South Africa is about, having those conversations that often are swept under the rug because it makes certain people in a room feel uncomfortable. So we think we shouldn't speak about it at all.
For sure.
And that's really what I created it for, to break those barriers, change those narratives. And let's talk about the challenges. Let's talk about how we overcome them. Let's talk about how we you know, break down the constructs of privilege, for example. What does that mean? You know?
Talk to us a little bit more. I mean, you do have the space. We've already gone into it. Let's expand a little bit more the work of Boss Babes, and maybe any proud moments that you can share with us.
I think when Boss Babes of South Africa started to boom, there was a lot of media interaction and people calling me for interviews. I had not personally realized that it had grown so big. And when these huge media companies were calling me, I honestly thought it was a prank. I thought it was someone during COVID was bored and one of my friends wanted to prank me and see the reaction. But yeah, I soon realized that for me, what has been my hugest success factor through creating Boss Babes of South Africa is lending my voice to topics that need to be spoken about. Gender equity, women being respected in workspaces, women being honored, pay parity is another thing that is so taboo. You're not supposed to talk about, your pay with other people.
Yeah.
Why?
Why is there no transparency about pay?
If you're doing role A and I'm doing role A, we're doing exactly the same role. We have exactly the same title.
Yeah. Same
Why?
Rating, same everything.
Why is that now seen to be so contentious? You know, if honesty and integrity is meant to lead in general corporate South Africa, why is that something we don't talk about? You know, when women are overlooked for promotions, when they're given double the workload, when they're asked to prove themselves, why is that overlooked? Why don't we have honest conversations about it? I think for me it's just been a real I want to say highlight in creating Boss Babes of South Africa, to say, you know, diversity, equity, inclusion and belonging. We talk about a lot, especially in corporate settings. We advocate a lot. But I think for me what's been really important is to actually understand what is happening inside.
100%.
What is the experiences of women that I mentor, for example, because I mentor a lot of young CAs that are in corporate South Africa at this point. And to be able to see what is that actual gap between what you're marketing. Because marketing is, I want to say, easy to do when you have a lot of money, right? You can put out fantastic marketing. But for me, what is the actual experience that people are having, being women, trying to maneuver or climb ladders in an environment, trying to lead? What are those challenges? And how do we as Boss Babes of South Africa start to find solutions to fixing those internal matters?
Sure. In the studio, joined by Khubri Moodley, and she's telling us a lot about the work and the passions that she has. Now let's shift our focus a little bit and talk about the annual Risk Awards Gala Dinner held by the Institute of Risk Management South Africa at Gallagher Estate recently, in October, I believe it was. Other professionals gathering, and you being awarded Risk Manager of the Year 2024. Tell us about what this moment really meant for you, and maybe the challenge that it places on you as a professional.
I have not hidden away from the fact that 2024 has been a very transformative year for me on many levels. And I think winning this award has just been, I want to say, affirmation from God or a higher power or the universe, whatever it is you believe in, that this is what I'm meant to do. Because sometimes you go through challenges in life, in your career, and you're faced with, I want to say, impediments, questions, judgments, those kind of things that can stop you and make you think, am I on the right path? And I think winning such a prestigious award for me, in what I call a tumultuous year, for those who've been on this journey with me, has just been so incredible. It has been testament to the fact that, God will place you where people don't believe that you belong.
Sure, preach, girl.
And for me, this was it coming to life, coming to fruition. It has been such an honor to win this award, because I have gone up against such incredible other professionals, colleagues in the profession of risk management. And I've been doing the role for 5 years as the head of risk management. And I think for me it was just about being able to, again, highlight my authentic experiences, the challenges that risk managers face, because there's quite a few of that, and I'm sure we'll unpack some of that. And how do we maneuver through that? Because it's one thing to say you have challenges, but what is the solution? How do we get past that? Because risk management is a huge part in any corporate, in any organization. And how do we offer the support and the resources to make sure that this function runs the way it needs to in terms of good governance and compliance?
So let's talk about those challenges and how you personally approach them and overcome them.
I love leaning on the fact that I mentor a lot of young professionals, some of which are in the risk management space. I think a risk management takes a certain type of personality, and I say this with the utmost respect, because as a risk manager, I'll give you an example. You often find yourself debating. You find yourself debating as to whether a risk needs to be on a register or not. Then you find yourself debating as to what rating that needs to be, red, amber, yellow or green. And often you are having these discussions with very senior members within an organization, often exco, very senior leadership. So, there's an element of saying that I enjoy this element of debate, because not everyone does. I do. I was almost born for it to say, tell me why.
Sure.
Explain to me why.
Right.
And be able to take that and I want to say, lend your experience and your skill to this person to say, this is why I believe we need to report on this. This is why I believe it's a red risk and it's important. The other component of it is that risk management is often, our risk reports go up to a board level.
Yeah.
It then becomes part of what we call public interest.
Right.
So it's not just about reporting to a particular company that you're working for. It's greater and bigger.
Sure.
It is the public that is reading those reports and deciding, making decisions, deciding on whether they want to invest in a particular company or not. And that's not something that I can ever take lightly.
Right.
So I think for me, it is very important if you're in the risk management space, and I'm sure there are risk managers listening to this, and I'd love to hear from you if you've had similar challenges, is that, you're going to have quite a headstrong perspective.
Yeah.
Because we as risk managers and also as CAs, we've got to report on things accurately, completely, and transparently. Transparency is a huge thing.
Yeah.
We can't, I want to say, sugarcoat things or, put a cloud over certain things. It is very important that when we sign off on a report, that we are being as accurate and honest as possible.
Sure. Now having received this honor, we're obviously at the end of 2024, I wonder how it shifts perhaps your perspective as we go into a new year, the energy that you have, the zeal, the vigor, and also just the sense of purpose then that it reignites in you, not just, in your work as a CA, but also in your work with Boss Babes.
Absolutely. I think whether you know it or not, every single one of us is managing risk every single day in some way or form, right?
Yeah.
I manage risk to get here to the studio earlier than usual because I've never been here before.
Sure.
We all, when we think about how we're doing things in a day, there's an element of risk management that's happening there. Identification, analysis, and then mitigation.
Yeah.
So I think for me, winning this award is now about being able to give back my knowledge, my skill.
Right.
I am currently on a short career break, and I am job hunting at this point.
Okay.
So I'm
sure your profile looks super attractive.
I hope my future employer is listening.
Listen, that profile is glittering at the moment.
But yeah, I think for me it's just been a time of reflection, of reset, of rejuvenation, and just, being grateful for what this year has showed me.
For sure.
It's shown me flames, but it's also shown me the fact that when you excel at something and you get rewarded on such a huge scale, that it is testament to your purpose, your passion, and what I stand for, which is the truth. I think for me, if anyone had to describe me, they would call me a truth seeker and a truth speaker.
I love that.
And sometimes people don't love that. Sometimes people don't love that. But I think for me, risk management is about being able to own the truth, speak it, report on it. And it links very closely to when we talk about ethics as well and integrity, because companies that have a high level of ethics and integrity want you to report, want you to be honest, want you to be transparent. And I think that is really where my focus is shifting as I manifest for the new year. As I manifest, I want to say, my dream job. As I manifest something that is aligned with me being authentic, right? A space that I can show up in where I am able to show up as my full authentic self. And that for me would bring me the most amount of joy.
Love that. Just as we wrap, this particular segment is called the Monday Boost. It's meant to have conversations with audacious people such as yourself, and really encourage that person who's sitting at a branch, who's sitting in whatever department that they might be in here at African Bank, to believe in themselves a little bit more, to reignite that fire within you, to sort of challenge you to dare to dream, right? To be the best version of yourself. So to that person who maybe has that fire within, but it's bubbling, and they don't maybe have the courage as yet to bring it alive, what message would you have to them, especially given that, you know, this year is done and dusted?
Great.
New year brings all kinds of energy, right?
Yes.
Perspective,
yes.
energy, vigor, the just really the desire to be more and to see what positive things a year
yes.
can bring you. So what message would you have to that particular person?
My message is that it is important for us to spend time to know ourselves,
Absolutely.
to know what we're all about,
Mm-hmm.
to know our ethical boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
our boundaries of which should not be crossed.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us just, you know, assume what society tells us.
Yes.
This is what you must look like, this is what you must speak like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, this is what you must do. And I think there is power in introspecting and determining who we are as human beings. Because I think when you know yourself well enough, you know where you need to be, you know where your soul needs to sit, and you also know what you need to leave behind. And I think that's a good lesson as we head out of 2024. I think it's been quite a transformative year for many people that I've spoken to, and a lot of people have, I want to say, reiterated the fact that this year what was not meant for them has left them through different ways and different forms and ways they could never have even imagined. And I think it is about knowing yourself. What do you stand for? And being able to put your energy into something and spaces and places that are going to respect and honor you for who you are.
Kongoni Moodley, named Risk Manager of the Year 2024 at the prestigious Annual Risk Awards Gala dinner held by the Institute of Risk Management South Africa. Thank you so very much for your time, the generosity of your time, and wishing you absolute greatness as we march into 2025.
Thank you so much.